It was to follow our standard Commissioners Court meeting. So I will declare a quorum, call the workshop to order. It has been duly posted. There's only one item, item number one, discussion regarding the 2021 and 22 Brown County budget and related issues. Jennifer?
We need to, essentially, we need to have a special meeting to set the date of the meeting for the public hearing on both the budget and the tax rate. We also need to have the vote on the elected officials' salaries. We can do all of that in the same meeting, but we have to have our publications done. So in order to have our publications done, we got to vote to set the meeting. Since we can't vote right now, we need to have a meeting this week as soon as we can. And for that purpose, to vote to set the date of the hearings and adoptions so that we can get all this done by our deadline.
So what is Thursday, the 26th look like for everyone? Is it okay?
Is that again?
This Thursday, that'll give us enough time to post it.
Yeah, can we do it in the afternoon? Is that worse?
No, I'm fine. Whatever, you see, these guys, I'm here in the building, these guys are the ones out in the field, so whatever works for them.
So can we do it in the afternoon? Does that work for you guys? Not really?
Wednesday morning works better for me because I'm already here.
You don't have time to do it.
Yeah, we can't do it. We don't have enough time to post it.
Can't post it
You just said Thursday
Thursday after. You've got to have 72 hours
after. Oh, after.
by the time from posting to the meeting.
I'll be here.
Is there anybody that can't be here at 2 o'clock on Thursday?
I can do it about 10 o'clock. But I'll say you got to hit the time in.
You want to do it before the election?
Yeah, I'd like to do it as early as we can, kill the whole day.
Maybe we can do it at 11 Thursday.
Can we do it at 11? That's fine. If we do it at 11.
Will that work with y'all?
Yeah.
11 o'clock on Thursday?
Works better for me.
Can't do it at 11. Well, that's 10. Yeah,
Well, we'd have to get it posted within the next hour.
it's 10, it's 10 o'clock right now, so you can post it.
An hour.
So
Stephanie,
that's fine, 11 o'clock.
is that something you can do within the next hour?
Is that all that will be on the agenda is
Right.
Set the date for the
That's it.
hearings, yes, right,
Just the hearing.
the hearing and the adoption.
Okay, what's the agenda?
We're
What's the
on
agenda?
agenda meeting to set the-
Yes, meeting,
So
yes.
we'll have to
So
have,
I'll get the wording to Stephanie.
can you do that within the next hour, or do we need to
Yes.
make it?
No, I can do it within the next hour. I'll get the exact wording and, for Thursday, right?
Yes.
And we still have it in here.
I thought,
That's why we're setting this Commissioners Court meeting so that we can publish it in the paper. They have to agree on all that other good stuff.
you had a question?
The question was, we were still had a little debate about whether or not the radio money could come out of that.
Yeah, all I got back from the Treasury Department was a generic answer. I can't tell if it was computer generated or not, but it just simply said, you know, the rules have been published. We'll try to get you a specific answer at some point in the future if we can, but it said we may not. So clearly it falls under one of the categories that the ARP money can be used for. My question was, like I said, there was a statute in the past that prohibited you from using grant money allocated or for projects allocated before the grant was passed. But they did specifically send us, is why I don't think it was computer generated, they sent us the dates which fall under ARP. We're within that. And to my knowledge, until just the other day, we hadn't spent a dime of that money, the radio money yet. I think we made a payment since then, since you and I talked. But
That's what that makes the budget whether or not it's balanced.
So if the radio money is used from the ARP funds, at least $486,000.
that we're under, yeah, that we're okay. That was the balancing budget issue. But I'm okay in proceeding, and I don't want to speak for anybody else here. Commissioner Worley did, and I did talk. I think we're on safe ground unless they come back and tell us otherwise, and we'll need to have a plan B just in case if they do.
How
But
much was that?
that'll take the radio money out of ARP instead of out of our general.
No, that was,
2.151.
2.5 million, 2.1.
It wouldn't be all of it,
no. it's
Not
gonna be-
all
it's
at
gonna be
once.
that.
and it wouldn't be all of the 2.1 million.
I think we discussed around
The
800,000.
830,000.
That's
So 800.
That's the one whether or not our budget balance is the way we kind of currently got it. If not, we're looking going back to fund balance on the regular.
Right.
We have fund balance.
And again, I would really prefer a solid answer from them, but we may not get that. Bob is back from vacation. He's out answering the phones in my office. He has a couple of personal contacts. He's gonna get on that this week, see if he can get someone
It'd be
to.
nice to know that before we do our, well, we can go ahead and set our meeting date before we actually do it.
Yeah, because our proposed budget can change right up until the day
So we need-
You
Well,
adopt,
it's adopted, so.
Okay, we're gonna-
Even
we're
though
gonna meet.
we began planning the project before the ARP dates, the dates of the ARP grant, nothing went into effect before those dates, as I understand it, unless my information is incorrect. And we just now made our first payment, which of course ARP is still ongoing, so I think, like I said, I think we're okay. And that may be why they just sent us a blanket answer back, because it may not even warrant enough for them to do any research on it.
There's,
our proposed rate is still 0.5542.
Is there some kind of are you keeping, is there some, the money that's spent, are you keeping it on a spreadsheet or something? And
Yeah,
Yeah,
Josie
Josie's
keeps-
got a whole list.
so we've spent 1.9 so far?
Hang on, let me uncover it.
additional nonprofits.
We funded our nonprofits through that,
Water stuff,
and then we
well,
funded about $1 million in water projects.
And
So the
attorney, the
nonprofits and
county
the water
attorney, when the,
districts,
What's that?
our city of Brownwood COVID, our MHMR CAR, the water districts and the nonprofits, all of that, total designated $1,038,770.
what
So
about our
there's-
district attorney?
So there's 900,000 somewhere that,
There's 900,000 almost for our pending radio expenses.
And then 100,000 for the DA's.
so when you
position.
announced earlier that we were down to 1.7, that was already taking into account radios?
No, the,
I mean, earlier he said there was 1.7 left. That means we've
Yeah.
spent 1.9.
That was the last figure I got from Josie, but I think that factored in the 800,000.
Radios.
And then 100,000 for the DA's new position. So, and I remember I said roughly 1.7. I haven't talked to Josie since then. I don't know what's been, else might have been paid out of that. And our water districts, we didn't write them a check for what they asked for. They submit invoices up to that amount. So some of them may not spend that full amount, but anything above that, they know that they're on their own for. And then again, we also were able to do a one-time funding of all of our nonprofit, everything the nonprofits asked for, they got. But that, I made it very clear they understood that it may not be that case next year.
Well, and that, I mean, that wasn't much, really. I mean, it was,
In the scheme
it was
of things.
wonderful, but in the big picture, it really wasn't
Yeah, so we budgeted nonprofit the same as the previous year, but this extra they did this year, we.
Came out of COVID, came out of COVID mitigation money, yes. She's still calculating.
that. It has to.
She's crunching numbers.
She's ciphering.
Yeah, that is our best friend.
no, on letting Josie.
Yeah, the 1.7, I'm almost certain was the radios included.
Yeah.
1.7 balance, I should say. And the DA's deal was actually more than 100,000. I think it was 130 or something, because we have to pay benefits.
Is that for 2 years?
No, to be renewed each year.
So it's 130 with benefits for 1 year?
Maybe it wasn't quite 100.
For a year and so many months.
Oh, yeah, because we funded 2 extra months. And
A year and some months.
yeah, it wasn't just one fiscal year. And so salary was, I think, 65 plus 20% for matching retirement, social security benefits. And then there were 2 or 3 extra months because it went into effect immediately, not in October. So I just remember a 130 figure written somewhere I saw. So.
You know how much money it costs to hire these dang attorneys?
65 for an attorney.
And we told him that. We asked him if he wanted more because we weren't sure who he'd be able to attract for $65,000. He said he would try that.
So I'm good for a budget workshop as long as we can meet Thursday. I'll get you the information. I gotta go look it up. so I can
Thursday
get
at 11.
At 11, yes. But I gotta go get
Joe
the
gets the
wording.
wording for her.
Yes, I've gotta go get her the wording.
Hey, did you want to speak on your budget?
Yes, please.
And while she's coming up, would it be possible maybe Thursday to bring something showing how much money spent, how much money's left?
Yeah, Josie's spreadsheet.
Yeah, we'll get Josie's spreadsheet.
Thank you very much.
Home Solutions, correct?
Home Solutions, I very much appreciate. But I do have a question. Which precinct is the shelter located in?
Good question.
Does
Let's
anybody
see.
know?
that
Not
would
too
be-
far from, tell me the address again for the record.
1101 Avenue D.
that would probably be-
I'm thinking is that
Yeah,
one
down-
or
you know,
three?
down there.
Yeah, it's in that little corner between Coggin and Austin, right back in there.
I'm thinking, is
There's
that,
4 boats you'll run together, I don't want to.
yeah, is that, I think
It
that's
could be
one.
Larry's, and it could be Joe's.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and I have one other question. So the COVID mitigation funds that y'all use with the nonprofits, which act did that come from?
The art bag.
Okay, so and I want to thank y'all very much. I understand. completely
Please
that's-
don't ask for any additional funds.
Well, I have a situation and it's not from that fund, which is why I'm asking what fund it was from. When you made the announcement of the award from the Recovery Act, you had said that it was for.
That's the art.
Oh, okay,
That is the art.
okay,
American Recovery
Oh.
Plan is what it's called.
got it. Okay, I'm with the program now. I had no idea that it was COVID mitigation in with that. I thought it was infrastructure.
No, that bill hasn't come out yet. There's an infrastructure bill that we're expecting that will give us a lot more leeway, but the art money has got very specific streams attached to it.
Okay, and COVID mitigation was part of it.
Yes.
Okay, so we have, as y'all probably heard, we have active COVID cases in the shelter now. The shelter's been closed, the people were there in quarantine. The big problem that we have is the women and families have specific bedrooms upstairs, but the men do not. They sleep on cots in the dining room. And it was always in my plan to build bedrooms for the men, but, we just haven't gotten that far yet. As part of COVID mitigation, and I talked to the emergency management coordinator about this, and because we are basically the shelter, the only one in town, by giving specific bedrooms for the men, if there is a positive case of the men, there is a place for them to be quarantined, and a lot fewer people would have to be quarantined. But because it's in a congregate setting, everybody is exposed, and everybody is at risk, which is what we're seeing now, and we're dealing with now. So I was going to ask, and y'all are welcome to say no, but doesn't
Well,
hurt to
this is
ask.
just a workshop. So
Yeah, and that's fine. I'm in the process of getting bids right now to build the bedrooms for the men, and complete the shower rooms so that they have their own designated place to be. And so if there is a positive case, then it would only be 1 or 2 people quarantined instead of the entire building. But I'm looking at probably between 50 and 55,000. It's a project. It doesn't go towards salaries or insurance or anything else. It is just to be able to be better prepared to handle future COVID cases, by not being so congregate a setting with the men. So,
I would hope that by the time we get this contract done, we'll be through this for a second round of COVID, what I'm hoping, but anyway.
I never even dreamed that we would still be dealing with it. Last fall, everything was, we were down to virtually no cases. I'm like, cool, we made it through this. And then it's just exploded.
Quit getting vaccinated, I thought it was over, I guess.
And so, you know, it has been, it's one of those things that just don't seem to go away. But anyway,
Questions for Linda? Anybody have any questions for?
Now, what's the exact location of that shelter? I know where y'all's office was.
It's on Avenue D.
1101 Avenue D, it's at the corner of Avenue D and Durham.
You remember where Coggin Elementary is?
Yes.
Right across
Yeah,
the
and
street.
it's the old Avenue D Baptist Church, that's where we're located.
I think I'm back over on Vine.
No, Avenue D in Durham.
I think I'm back on Vine Street.
So why would you need to know what precinct was in?
Just a point of curiosity.
It's close,
I think it's.
but it's between, it's right across the street from the old Coggin Elementary.
I said, I think my precinct's back on Vine Street. I think my precinct was somewhere on Vine Street.
That I don't-
South Elementary.
That's what I'm saying.
All right, does anybody have any questions or?
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much.
Anything else for the workshop? I think that goes without saying.
Uh,
Anything else on the workshop?
we're gonna be here Wednesday at 11.
No, Thursday.
Thursday. Well, I just wanted to be Wednesday. Thursday at 11.
All right, Stephanie, you got 45 minutes to get on. All right, we're adjourned.
Where am I? See, there, I'm saying no, I'm not gonna take it.
Next time you're in Galveston, you